in this lesson, we are going to start with Merchant of Venice. Okay, and as you probably must be knowing, that Merchant of Venice is a play that was written by William Shakespeare. It was written somewhere during 1596, right? And it is one of the most popular plays of William Shakespeare, right? And the Merchant of Venice, as the title suggests, the merchant in the story is our central character, Antonio. Okay, and don't be confused. Although Antonio is not present for much of the play, this play is more centered around his friend Bassanio. But still, the merchant in the title, this merchant, is nobody other than Antonio, and we'll be introduced with Antonio in the very first scene. Now, this play is taking place, or for the first scene, basically, it's taking place in Venice. Okay, it's taking place in a street, right? And this Merchant of Venice is, what can I say? As we move on, we will see more and more characters. One of the most important characters, apart from Antonio and his friend Bassanio, is Portia, the woman whom Bassanio is going to get married. And again, this event that Bassanio going to get married to Portia, this event surrounds, or the entire play is surrounding this one event where Bassanio decides to get to Belmont in order to get married to Portia. We have one more character, perhaps the antagonist of the play, the villain character in the play. Okay, that is Shylock, a Jew. Okay, and the difference between Antonio and Shylock majorly lies in the religion. Okay, and the differences between them also lies due to this reason, that they are from different religions. The beliefs are different. Antonio has often mocked, often make fun of Shylock, and this is the reason that Shylock later tries to take a revenge on Antonio. Right. So we'll start with that. We'll start with Act 1, Scene 1. And we have the entry of Antonio, Salarino, and Salanio. So Antonio says, "In sooth, I know not why I am so sad. It wearies me, you say. It wearies you. But how I caught it, found it, or came by it, what stuff it is made of, whereof it is born, I am to learn. And such a want with sadness makes of me, that I have much ado to know myself." So, in the very beginning, we begin with Antonio. Okay, we begin with Antonio's speech, where Antonio says that he is not aware, or he does not know why he is sad. He is sad for certain reason. He's sad for some reason, but he is not sure why he is sad. Okay, where this sadness came from, where he has contacted this sadness, whether he has got it from someone else, किसी और से मिला है, उसको just अपने आप से हुआ है, ठीक है? He's not sure, right? This sadness is like a virus, and उसको नहीं पता ये वायरस उसको कहाँ से मिला है. डायरेक्ट किसी सोर्स से मिला है, इनडायरेक्टली किसी से मिला है, ठीक है? उसको ये नहीं पता. बट दिस सैडनेस इज अ मैटर ऑफ कंसर्न. ये सैडनेस सिर्फ एंटोनियो को नहीं, उसके आसपास जो उसके फ्रेंड्स है, right now we have Salario and Salarino. Okay, these two friends are with him, and both of these friends are in are getting a bit worried, because if your friend is in trouble, if your friend is worried, अगर कोई दोस्त है जो दुखी रहता है, you will also be worried for them. Okay, you will also be concerned that क्या हो गया इसको, ठीक है, right? या फिर क्यों बात नहीं कर रहा है. Similarly, these people are also worried about Antonio. They are also sad because of Antonio. Okay, that is somewhat getting from Antonio, right? So it worries me, he says. Okay, means it is depressing him. Obviously, the sadness is depressing him, and it's also depressing. It's also creating a bad feeling for Salario and Salarino, right? But where he found this sadness, how he caught it, what is this sadness made of, what is the reason of this sadness, he knows nothing. उसको कुछ नहीं पता कि कहाँ से ये sadness आ रहा है, किस reason से ये sadness उसको मिल रहा है, उसको कुछ नहीं पता है. Just उसको इतना पता है कि वो sad है. And such a want with sadness makes of me, that I have much ado to know myself. So this sadness, this entire thing has made him very dull. He is not even able to understand himself. वो खुद को भी समझ नहीं पा रहा है कि कहाँ से उसको ये sadness मिला. What is going on with him? उसके साथ क्या हो रहा है उसको ये भी नहीं मालूम. All of this is happening due to the sadness. सैडनेस की वजह से वो अपने आप को पहचान नहीं पा रहा है, सैडनेस की वजह से वो ये नहीं जान पा रहा है कि उसके साथ प्रॉब्लम क्या है. He, the sadness has made him into a dull person. The sadness has made him into a stupid person, and he's not able to understand even himself. He's not even able to understand himself that why he has gotten so sad. फेल हुआ एग्जाम में, यू नो, दोस्त जो है वो अभी सही से बात नहीं कर रहे हैं, some other problem, okay, he liked someone and that someone is not responding to his text. He does not know what is the reason for his sadness. There is a his sadness है, क्या कारण से sadness है नहीं पता. And since he does not know this reason, he feels that he's becoming very dumb, he's becoming very stupid, and he does not even know himself. And Salerno says, your mind is tossing on the ocean. There, where your argosies with portly sail, like seniors and rich bureaus on the flood, or as it were, the peasants of the sea, do overpeer the petty traffickers, that curtsy to them, do them reverence, as they fly by them with their woven wings. So, Salerno says that your mind is at the sea, okay, your mind is tossing on the ocean, your mind is still there with your ships. So Antonio is a merchant, as we already know, as we already discussed, that the merchant in Merchant of Venice is Antonio, right? And in previous days, merchants used to have their ships, merchants had their ships going from one place to another, okay, carrying all their things, carrying all their merchandise actually, whatever they were trading in, जो भी उनका बिजनेस का सामान था वो शिप से एक जगह से दूसरे जगह जाता था. And you know, Salerno says that Antonio is still worried about his ships. His ships are out in the ocean. They are taking some. They are bringing some merchandise. Perhaps they went for trade. Okay, they have taken some merchandise. Whatever be the cause, but they have not yet returned. The ships have not yet come back. And Salerno feels that Antonio is worried about his ships. His mind is still worried, thinking about what his ships are doing. Means whether his ships are coming back, whether the ships are in trouble, pirates ने अटैक किया, आइसबर्ग से टकरा गया, क्या हुआ है उसको नहीं पता, right? And he is worried about that since he has no news. There was no WhatsApp yet, so that he could not confirm, right, that what has happened, where the ships are currently, position क्या है, उसको ये पता नहीं चल रहा था, इसीलिए वो worried था. There were your argosies with portly sail, like seniors and rich bearers on the flood, or as it were, the peasants of the sea, to overpeer the petty traffickers. So your ships are there, and your ships are like seniors and rich bearers, right? Seniors and rich bearers is referring to people of the elite class, some very rich merchants, people who belong to a very high class, right? And since Antonio's ships are filled with goods, his ships are filled with merchandise, Salerno says that his ships are like rich people, just like rich people who have a lot of things, right? They travel on the roads. Antonio's ships are traveling on the ocean with a lot of things, a lot of merchandise, whatever he's dealing with, right? And that's why they are like the rich people. Or as it were, the peasants of the sea do overpeer the petty traffickers. So it always happens that the bigger ships overpower the smaller ships. Now this can be taken as a comparison for anything. The bigger ships not only mean actually bigger ships, but also mean the rich and wealthy people of the society, or people who are in power. जो भी पोजीशन में ऊपर है, जो भी पैसे में ऊपर है, वो लोग हमेशा क्या करते हैं, जो लोग नीचे हैं उनको दबाने की कोशिश करते हैं. People who are below them, they try to overpower them, right? This can be the case in anything, be it your social position, be it your monetary position, and this is what he's trying to tell through the example. Just like the people who are higher in society, they overpower the people who are lower. Similarly, bigger ships always overpower smaller ships. So Antonio's ships are bigger ships, so he has nothing to worry. Do overpeer the petty traffickers. Petty means small, the small ships which are taking the things around. Okay. That curtsy to them, do them reverence as they fly by them with their woven wings. So as the big ships, they almost fly by. They're not actually flying, but they move in such a speed it seems they're flying by. So as the big ships, they almost move in a very fast speed. They go beside the smaller ships. the smaller ships move aside as if showing respect to the bigger ships. Obviously, we know if the smaller ships not move aside, they will be crushed, they will be destroyed by the bigger ones, right? But what he's trying to say is this moving aside, it looks as if the smaller ships by moving aside are paying respect. वो लोग इज्जत दे रहे हैं बिगर शिप्स को कि आप लोग जाइए हुजूर, ठीक है, आप लोग निकल जाइए, हम लोग यहाँ पे आप लोग के पीछे रहने वाले हैं. And Salanio says, believe me, sir, had I such venture forth, the better part of my affections would be with my hopes abroad. I should be still, plucking the grass, to know where sits the wind, peering in maps for ports and piers and roads, and every object that might make me fear. Misfortune to my ventures, out of doubt, would make me sad. And Salanio says, believe me, sir, if I had such ventures forth, मतलब अगर मेरा भी ऐसा कुछ होता, मेरे भी शिप्स बाहर रहते, मेरा भी बिजनेस बाहर रहता, ठीक है, so I would also be worried about what is happening with my ships, what is going on with my ships. I would also be worried about them. So it is quite common. Obviously, जब पूरा पैसा कहीं पे लगा हुआ हो, he has spent a lot of money there, okay, in his business, and if that business is destroyed, if the ships are destroyed, his entire business is destroyed, right? So it is quite normal for someone to worry about what is happening to the ships or what is happening to their business prospect, right, when some bad situation arises. So Salanio says it is quite common. I would also be worried about my ships. I would also be sad if my ships would not have returned home when I have most of my money spent in those businesses. I should be still plucking the grass to know where sits the wind. So he's saying that I would pick a blade of grass, right, and I would put it up in the wind, and the wind, in whichever direction it will move, will actually tell me whether my ship will come early or whether my ship will come in time or it will be late. Because when I pluck the grass and the grass is moving in a certain direction, it will also tell me that the wind is also blowing in that direction. Now, अगर ऐसा होता है कि मेरा ship उसके against में जा रहा है, right? Like, suppose if the wind is blowing in this direction and my ship is coming from this direction, right? So, you know, in earlier times, suppose this is a ship, right? And you used to have a sail. This is called a sail, okay? A piece of cloth that was hanging from the a mast, a big piece of wood generally, okay? It used to be hanging from there. And when the wind used to come and hit here, there were no engines still. So they had to rely on these masts in order to move forward, right? So when the wind used to come and hit the mast, it used to fill the sail, the cloth used to get the wind in it, and the ship used to move forward, right? So the ship used to have increased speed. Now suppose the wind is coming from this direction and the ship is coming from this direction, right? And the wind pushes the ship back, means it does not get any help from the wind actually, okay? It is pushing the ship back. So obviously the ship will take a longer time to come back, or it will take a longer time to arrive. But if we have the wind and the ship moving in the same direction, right? If this is the wind and the ship is moving in the same direction like we see here, obviously the ship will move much faster than what we see in the other way around, right? So that is why he will be plucking grass. That is why he will be trying to see in which direction the wind is moving, so that he can actually expect his ship to come back in a certain time. Peering in maps for ports and piers and roads and every object that might make me fear misfortune to my ventures. So he'll look at a map. मैप देखता है कहाँ पे क्या क्या प्रॉब्लम हो सकता है, ठीक है, कहाँ पे शिप रुक सकती है, वेदर द शिप इज टेकिंग अ ब्रेक, अच्छा यहाँ से यहाँ जाने में बीच में कहीं पे ब्रेक ले सकते हैं, ठीक है, सो दैट्स व्हाई उसीलिए लेट हो रहा है. सो वुड लुक इन द मैप, मैप में वो जगह देखता है, यहाँ पे सपोज रेस्ट ले रहा है तो चलो इसीलिए लेट हो रहा है. हर जगह जहाँ पे उसको लग सकता है कि यहाँ पे रुक सकता है, यहाँ पे कोई डेंजर हो सकता है, वो हर जगह देखता, क्योंकि उसके पास और कोई ऑप्शन तो था नहीं, वो और कुछ कर तो नहीं सकता था, बस मैप देख के अपने आप को या तो टेंशन देता या फिर अपने आप को तसल्ली देता कि हाँ सब कुछ ठीक है, या फिर कुछ ना कुछ तो गलत हुआ है क्योंकि अभी तक वापस आ जाना चाहिए था. Misfortune to my ventures out of doubt would make me sad. So obviously, if my ships were out, if my ships had not arrived yet, if my business was dependent on my ships, I would also be sad. I would also be worried. So I know why you're worried. It's not something illogical. It's not something out of the place. Okay, it's not something so uncommon. It's very common. Where whenever my business is outside, I am also worried. Salerno says, my wind, cooling my broth, would blow me to an ache when I thought what harm a wind too great at sea might do. I should not see the sandy hourglass run, but I should think of shallows and of flats and see my wealthy Andrew docked in sand. So, Salerno says, जब मैं सूप पीता हूँ और उसको मैं ठंडा करने के लिए मुंह से हवा देता हूँ, I blow wind in it, that worries me. उससे मुझे टेंशन होती है. ठीक है, my wind cooling my broth would blow me to an ache. Okay, I would become very worried because if my wind, I'm a small person. Okay, if my wind has the power to cool down a soup, imagine a wind blowing out in the ocean, something blowing from nature. Okay, that is huge in size. Okay, the amount of air that is coming out from Salerno's mouth, compare it to a storm. If my wind can do this to a warm soup, imagine what a storm will do to my ship. That is what makes him concerned. If that is the power of wind, actually, right? I should not see the sandy hourglass run, but I should think of shallows and of flats and see my wealthy Andrew docked in sand. So बोल रहा है कि मैं डर के मारे I would not see the time. Okay, the hourglass is something that used to be telling of the time earlier. Okay, it used to look something like this. Right, this is what the hourglass used to look like, and you had sand filled in one part, right? One part would be empty and one part would be filled with sand, and there was a narrow passage, and through this passage the sand used to fall down and then again accumulate in the bottom half. While it used to get accumulated in the bottom half, the upper half used to get empty. So what you have to do, you have to flip it again back, right? So when you flip it back, what will happen? This part will again have the sand and this part will be empty. Again, slowly the same process will continue. This used to tell the time. Suppose it takes 1 hour for the entire sand to fall from this part to this part. Okay, so when it takes 1 hour for the sand to come from this part to this part, when it's completely fallen down, you will know 1 hour has passed. So you'll turn it back. Okay, and then again you will know 1 hour has passed. So this is what used to be called, a sand clock. Okay, or hourglass, right? And since this had sand, Salerno would be very scared to even look at this because he would imagine that his ship, if it crashed somewhere, okay, crashed at the side of a sea shore, what we call a sea shore. Okay, if his ship went and crashed there, his ship would be lying under the sand, buried under the sand, right? His ship would crash, it would break completely, and then slowly sand would cover the entire ship. So he was worried that, this sand that which we are trapping here, right? This sand has so much of power that it can bury the entire ship. When it crashes and falls there, and when it breaks completely, it will eventually be buried by the sand. So he's worried about how these small things become such strong elements when they are in nature. Wailing her high top lower than her ribs to kiss her burial. Should I go to church and see the holy edifice of stone, and not bethink me straight of dangerous rocks, without touching but my gentle vessel's side, would scatter all her spices on the stream, enrobe the roaring waters with my silks, and in a word, but even now worth this, and now worth nothing? So now he's comparing, now he's talking about a church. Okay, a church that is made up of stone, right? And he says, if I go to a church and when I see these stones that have been used to make this church, would I not think that how these rocks, when they are in the ocean, when they are in the sea, could damage or destroy my ship? Okay, if you have watched Titanic, I've given this example earlier in class also, but I'll give this again. Suppose your ship is going and there's a stone here, right? Underwater, there's a stone, and this stone hits the side of your ship. If you watch Titanic, you'll know what I'm talking about. So, if this rock hits the side of your ship, your entire ship will go crashing down, right? And the rocks from the church remind him of this only, that how one small rock or one rock in the ocean or in the sea could destroy his entire ship. And he says, when my ship will be destroyed, what will I see? Suppose this is the water, right? And all his stuff will be lying on the water. Okay. Suppose he has silk, and that silk will be lying on the water. Okay, the silk cloth will be lying on the water. And it will look like somebody has decorated the water with silk. Right? Somebody has decorated the water with silk. Right, suppose it's a silk cloth and all his silk cloth has been laid out on the water, and it will look like somebody has decorated the water with silk, right? So he's worried that his ship, which is at one time worthy of so much because it has a lot of stuff that he's bringing for, a business purpose, it is filled with stuff. How in the next very moment, one small mishap and his entire ship could be down. Everything he owns could be lost. Right. So he's worried about that. So this is what he's saying. But even now worth this. So his ship could be worth something. But in the very next moment, it could be worth nothing once it is damaged. Shall I have the thought to think on this? And shall I lack the thought that such a thing, we chance, would make me sad? But tell not me. I know Antonio is sad to think upon his merchandise. So even thinking about such a thing would make me sad. So if something like this actually happens, I'll be very sad. So don't tell me anything. I know very well why Antonio is sad. Antonio is sad because his ships are still outside, because his ships have yet not returned. That is why Antonio is worried. Antonio, believe me, no, I thank my fortune for it. My ventures are not in one bottom trusted, not to one place, nor is my whole estate upon the fortune of this present year. Therefore, my merchandise makes me not sad. So, Antonio says, believe me, no, I thank my fortune for it. So Antonio बोल रहा है कि मेरा नसीब बहुत अच्छा है, ठीक है? My fortune is good, so I'm not worried about that. It's not that I'm dependent on one ship. एक ही ship मेरे पास नहीं है कि वो ship को कुछ हो जाए तो मेरा पूरा business डूब जाएगा. I have ships going to different parts. I have ships going to different areas actually. Okay, and my business is spread amongst all those ships. So even if one ship is destroyed, I'm not worried. Nor does my financial status depend on what I earned this year. I already have money. So I'm not worried about my ships. I'm not worried about my business actually, right? And that is why I can very clearly say that my business is not making me sad. Salerno says, why? Then you are in love. And Antonio says, fi. Means, what nonsense. So, the other reason, apart from his merchandise, the first reason that we get is Antonio is sad because Antonio's ships are still out. Okay, that is the first reason that we get for his sadness. The second reason that is suggested is that Antonio is sad because Antonio is in love. Right. But this reason again is downright rejected by Antonio. Antonio इसको reject कर देता है. Antonio बोलता है कोई प्यार नहीं है. What nonsense are you talking about? ठीक है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. I'm not in love. Therefore, love cannot be the reason for my sadness. Right. And Salerno says, not in love neither. Then let us say you are sad because you are not merry. So The third reason that he can find is that Antonio is only sad because he is not happy. So if you are not happy, अगर तुम खुश नहीं हो, obviously you will be sad. Right. So that is the third reason. So he finds out three reasons actually. The first one being his ships are outside. The second one being he being in love. And the third one, perhaps a bit stupid, but yes, he is only sad because he is not happy. Okay. And it was as easy for you to laugh and leap and say you are merry because you are not sad. Okay. So uh, just like if you just jump around, what Salerno is saying, that you are sad because you're not happy, and if you just jump around and keep saying that I'm happy, your sadness will be gone. It's as easy as that, because you are not sad. Now by two-headed Janus, nature hath framed strange fellows in her time, some that will evermore peep through their eyes and laugh like parrots at a bagpiper, and other of such vinegar aspect that they will not show their teeth in way of smile, though Nestor swear the jest be laughable. So, Salarino, he is saying now by two-headed Janus. Okay, so he's referencing to a Roman god. Okay, Roman god whose name is Janus. Okay, now he has certain features, right? And one of the first features is that he has two faces. It is said that one of the faces of Janus is merry, while the other face is actually frowning. Okay, so right, and he has these two faces, the frowning and the merry face, and uh, he's referencing to this. Salerno is referencing to this because he's talking about two kind of people that we find in nature. दो तरह के लोग मिलते हैं. एक ऐसे होते हैं जो किसी भी बात पे हंसेंगे, will laugh at anything and everything you tell them. Okay, they're like a parrot laughing at a bagpiper. Okay, means a bagpiper is not a very something serious. Okay, the music is something very serious. A somber tone is played on a bagpiper. Okay, there's nothing to laugh, but the parrots will still laugh at that, right? So there are some people who will laugh at anything, no matter what you say. Okay, and there are some people who are who have vinegar aspect. Okay, a vinegar is something that is very sour tasting. Okay, and these people are also very sour. They don't laugh at anything at all. Okay, they are always serious. They never laugh, even though Nestor might say that the joke was funny. Now, who is this Nestor? Nestor was a Greek general. Okay. This Nestor was a Greek general who fought in the Trojan War. Okay. And Nestor was known to be a very serious man. He used to laugh on very certain occasions, very specific occasions. Even when something was very funny, okay, there was a chance that Nestor might not laugh. But yes, Nestor used to laugh in certain occasions. Although he was not laughing in 90% of the occasions, there were 10% occasions when Nestor might have laughed. But Salerno says there are some people who are even worse than Nestor. They will not laugh for 100% of the situations, no matter how funny is the joke, right? Kapil Sharma ka joke ho ya kisi ka bhi ho, they are never laughing. And then there are certain people who are always laughing. So he is referencing to Janus. Not only is saying this by Janus, he's also referencing to Janus because Janus has two faces, one which is merry, one which is smiling, the other which is frowning. Okay, and Janus, since he has two faces, he is said to be a god for many things, right? He's said to be the god. He has seen the beginning and he's seen the ending. That's why he has two faces. He is looking on both sides, right? He's taken as the god of doors, means he's looking on the inside as well as the outside. So he is considered as the god for many things. There's also a saying that the name January might have come from Janus, although certain people believe that it has come from another Roman god, Juno. right? So that is not yet clear. But yeah, what is clear is that Janus has two faces. Okay, and he is a god for a variety of things in Roman, according to Roman mythology, right? And that is what Salarino is referencing to. Now Salanio says, "Here comes Bassanio, your most noble kinsman, Gratiano and Lorenzo. Fare ye well. We leave you now with better company." So, uh, with this, we see the introduction of the other characters. Okay, other most important character. Okay, other important character that we have, apart from Antonio, that is Bassanio. So, the most close friend of Antonio is coming. The best friend of Antonio is coming. That is Bassanio. Okay, and there are others, Graciano and Lorenzo, who are also close friends, but not obviously as close as Bassanio. Right. So, Salanio says, "We'll take your leave. Goodbye to you." Right. Because you have a better company of friends right now. Means we are your good friends. These are your best friends. So you have a better company of friends. ज़्यादा अच्छे दोस्त आ गए हैं तो तुम उन लोग के साथ रहो हम लोग चलते हैं. Salerno says, "I would have stayed till I had made you merry if worthier friends had not prevented me." So Salerno बोलता है कि मैं तब तक यहाँ पे रहता जब तक मैं तुमको खुश नहीं कर देता. You are sad. Until unless I would have made you happy, I would have stayed here. But you have better friends now. ज़्यादा अच्छे दोस्त आ गए हैं. Friends who are much closer to you. Those people have come. So I'll leave. And Antonio says, "Your worth is very dear in my regard. I take it your own business calls on you, and you embrace the occasion to depart." So Antonio is replying directly. Antonio directly बोलता है कि देखो मेरे पास तुम्हारा value भी high है. I value you equally. It's not that I don't value you. Your value is also high. Perhaps it is not as high as Bassanio, but it's not that your value is nothing. You are also equally valued by me, right? Not equally, but you also have value. You also have a lot of value for me, right? And I know this very well that you have your own business. You have something else to do. You have some other work that has been coming up, that has come up actually, and you are taking this chance to leave. So, this is a reference, or this can be taken as a reference to the fact that although people are close friends, although people are good friends here, as we see Salerno and Salanio with Antonio, since these people are merchants, they are more concerned about their own business. They are concerned about their own work actually. Okay, this business that has come up, this might not necessarily mean something related to business, but some work. Okay, and these people are more concerned about their work than friends. Okay, so although it's not directly mentioned, but going by the words of Antonio, we can assume that often the work that people have is much more important than friends, right? So they're taking an opportunity, they were not getting the opportunity, but now they have got the opportunity, and taking this opportunity, they are leaving. So we have the entry of Bassanio, Lorenzo, and Graciano, and Salerno says, "Good morrow, my good lords." Bassanio puts in yours both. "When shall we laugh? Say when. You grow exceeding strange. Must it be so?" So Salerno wishes everybody, and Bassanio says that Bassanio wishes them back and says, "When shall we sit down and have a good laugh? We have not talked for a very long time. You people don't have the time. Okay. So हम लोग बहुत दिन एक साथ नहीं बैठे, हम लोग बहुत दिन एक साथ बातचीत नहीं किए. We haven't had a laugh in a good time, right? So when do you people have the time? When shall we sit together? When shall we have a conversation? Because you people are becoming strangers. You people stay so far away. You people meet us so less that you people are becoming like strangers. And should that happen, ऐसा होना चाहिए, ठीक है? And Salerno says, "We'll make our leisures to attend on yours." So Salerno बोलता है कि हम लोग फ्री टाइम खोज रहे हैं ताकि हम लोग आप लोग से बातचीत कर सके. Exeunt Salerno and Salanio. So we see both of them exit together. Salerno and Salanio both have exited, and we are left with now Graciano, Lorenzo, Bassanio, and Antonio. So Lorenzo says, "My lord Bassanio, since you have found Antonio, we too will leave you. But at dinner time, I pray you have in mind where we must meet. Bassanio, I will not fail you." So Lorenzo says that, you have found Antonio, you have found your friend, so we will no longer disturb you. We'll no longer waste our time here. So you people talk, you people have a good time, but remember to meet us during dinner. At dinner time, do remember to meet us. Okay. And Bassanio says that I will not forget that. I will not fail you. मैं याद से आऊंगा जरूर. And Graciano, now he's commenting about Antonio. Now he's coming back to Antonio actually. Graciano says, "You look not well, Signor Antonio. You have too much respect upon the world. They lose it that do buy it with much care. Believe me, you are marvelously changed." Okay, so Graciano says that Antonio is not looking good. Okay. Antonio is obviously the sadness that he had contracted earlier, that we were already mentioning at the beginning, that sadness is still showing in Antonio's face, and Graciano has noticed that. And he says that you do not look good, and you have too much respect upon the world. Means you are worried about the world a bit too much. आपको ज़्यादा ही सोचते हैं सबके बारे में, what is going on in the world, which will again see, okay, that when Antonio lends money to Bassanio, we'll see by the end of this scene, and Antonio decides to get money from his worst enemy just for Bassanio. Once Bassanio says that he needs the money, Antonio does not think, goes on, gets the loan from his worst enemy, okay, and gives it to Bassanio, right? So, as we know that Antonio is a very good spirited man, he's always very helpful, so he's always burdened by the world surrounding him, he's always very concerned, right? And Graciano says people who are only worried about, जो सिर्फ पैसा कमाना जानते हैं, जो सिर्फ पैसे कमाने के बारे में सोचते हैं, ठीक है, लेकिन उसको खर्च नहीं करते, जो उसको एंजॉय नहीं करते, they are always worried, right? So is indirectly poking at Antonio that Antonio only knows how to earn money, but Antonio does not know how to spend his money, how to enjoy his money, right? But then again he's mentioning at the end that you have changed a lot. Marvelously changed means you have changed a lot. Antonio says, I hold the world, but as the world creation, a stage where every man must play a part, and mine a sad one. So Antonio is telling that I don't take this world to be anything but a stage. And on this stage, every man or every woman is playing a part. Right. Now, this is a direct reference to William Shakespeare's another play. Okay. Means perhaps Shakespeare has either taken reference from that, or it's more probable that Shakespeare has, taken this part and broadened it in another play. The play is called As You Like It. Okay. Where one of the characters, Touchstone, uh, in his speech, he says that all the world's a stage and we are mere characters who are playing parts on this stage. There are seven stages of a man. Okay, from our childhood, we go on to school, and then we become a lover, and then we move on to become a soldier, a warrior. Okay, and then we become elderly, a businessman, a serviceman. Okay, and then we go on to become an old man, and in the end we have death. Okay, so seven stages of man, which has been talked about more in As You Like It, another play by William Shakespeare. So it's a reference to that. And Antonio says that this entire world is a stage. This entire world is nothing more than a stage. Everyone is playing a part, and my part, the role that I have, is a sad part. Okay. So we'll keep the lesson till here for today. Okay. This is the beginning of the scene one. We are just laying the basics, laying the base actually. Okay. In the next part, we'll see how Graciano tries to cheer up Antonio, and how Bassanio actually gets a loan from Antonio, right? So, and the scene will stay here because we are still in Act 1, Scene 1. We'll continue with Act 1, Scene 1. So, the scene will stay here. And when we move on to the next scene, we'll actually see a shift from Venice, actually, right? So, for today's lesson, we'll keep it till here. Thank you.